And welcome back. Now let's take a look at what the Politics Desk has for us coming up this week. Ntebo Mokobo joins us now. Ntebo, busy week ahead for you. Of course, the Matlanga Commission continues. The ANC National Working Committee is meeting this week, and you're keeping your eye on all of that. Let's start with that ANC National Working Committee meeting.
Well, good afternoon, Oliver, and good afternoon to the viewers at home. In fact, it's no longer the NWC. What's happening tomorrow is the special National Executive, special NEC. It's a one-day meeting. You would recall that they're having their National General Council sometime next Monday on the 8th of December. So tomorrow the National Executive, the special National Executive Committee is meeting to sort of look into the preparations of the National General Council. It's an important meeting for the ANC.
How important is that NGC?
See, youngsters normally say it's going to be lit. It's very important because it's a mid-term review.
Sure.
And a mid-term review, they will be looking at what has happened since the national conference in 2022, what policies have been implemented, and where are any challenges, were there any challenges, and looking into the next 2.5 years or 2 years in terms of policy implementation and ensuring that all those policies that were adopted in the 2022 National Conference are adopted. And they will be looking at even how the National Executive Committee has fared over the past 5 years, over the past 2.5 years in terms of really living up to the expectations of South Africans and the ANC's rank and file. They will be looking at, for instance, the president's track record over the past, I would say, 2.5 years, and you recall that he's not just the president from 2022, he's the president from 2017, 2017
of the ANC.
Of the ANC. Normally we say maybe former President Zuma was a historic president for the ANC, but we didn't really know what we're talking about. Because if you look at the president himself, the current president, President Zuma at some point under his leadership, he recalled one of the most towering intellectual, Ntebo Mokobo, in 2008 while he was the president of the ANC. Under President Ramaphosa, we've seen him recalling the former president, President Zuma, was recalled under his leadership. He was even expelled from the ANC. The Secretary General in more than 100 years was expelled from the ANC. And under his leadership, again, we've seen the ANC, which happened to be the beacon of hope for many poor black South Africans in particular, losing its elections under him. So they will be looking at his track record, they will be looking at his offerings to the ANC as the president, and of course, what next?
So all while this is happening, Ramaphosa is facing internal criticism, and detractors seem to be organizing around him for the potential ousting of him. In fact, the Sunday World reports it's Joe Pahla and Mondli Ngubele who are leading their charge to get him ousted. And we know in the last NEC meeting, he had spoken out against them, saying that they must stop hiding in dark corners and take him head on. Is this NGC an opportunity for that to happen? In
fact, that's why I'm saying some youngsters would say it's going to be late. This is going to be the most, I would say, historical in the ANC, because some people are saying the ANC for the first time has been lumped in the same grabby bag of all those political, liberation movements in the continent that are seemingly failing, if not failed. So he will be judged on that NGC, and you look at the confidence, the trust deficit in the ANC. People have lost trust. Most people have lost trust. If people didn't lose trust, the ANC would be in power. And if you look even at the mushrooming of political parties and even the realignment, you've seen, Unite for Action, Unite for Change, that happened. Yes. They've realized that, the bar is very low. Anyone can become something in South Africa.
Yeah. The ANC also has a very fractious relationship with its alliance partners, and that's an ongoing contestation in the party right now. In fact, one of its alliance partners, Kusato, is celebrating its 40th anniversary this week. And that, I would assume, is an opportunity for it as well to reflect on its relationship with a electorally weakened ANC now.
Indeed. If you look at COSATU at some point was the federation in South Africa and the federation in the continent. It was the biggest. At some point, it boasted around 2.5 million members. If you look at the current membership today, it's around 1.2, 1.3 million. But the problem is its over-reliance on the public sector unions, because public sector, sometimes even teachers, police, people get retrenched in this public sector unions, and therefore high unemployment is the one that has caused them factionalism. It's one reason for its dwindling members. If you look at, the expulsion of some of its affiliates, the expulsion of NUMSA left with around 300,000 members. So that on its own, again, says something about COSATU. Is COSATU really up for the well-being of the workers, or is it really concerned about its relationship with the ANC and whether its leadership, one way or the other, will be rewarded in terms of positions in government? So some of those things are the ones that are seen as own goals for COSATU.
Yeah. Later on, the president will be addressing the country at 6 o'clock today. The statement reads very interestingly coming out of the presidency about this. They say that the president will address the country following the successful presidency of the G20. But I don't assume he's going to want to talk to us about how successful the G20 was. There must be something a little bit more pressing and urgent the president would want to speak to. What comes to mind for you that you think needs urgent addressing tonight?
Well, your guess is as good as mine. My guess is as good as yours. I think the president will dwell into South Africa's precarious relationship with the United States. That's one thing that people are concerned about. That, if the United States says they're not going to invite South Africa to the G20, we know it's not the business of the United States for South Africa to be in the G20. It's a collective decision for South Africa to be there. But you may find that South Africa is not invited. It's not invited in terms of the president getting a visa and anyone getting a visa to go to the United States. So that's one thing. And to look at, even the continuous spat between South Africa and the United States. We know South Africa is not in relationship with an individual called Donald Trump. South Africa is in a relationship. We've got a diplomatic relationship with the United States, not with Donald Trump. And I think that's one thing that, again, that made the president to be hailed and commended for, I would say, the diplomatic way or the diplomatic handling of the spat between South Africa and the United States in a build-up to this conference, to this summit. So I think mainly it will be to allay fears to South Africa that we're still in charge. And maybe at the tail end of our discussions, the SACP is having its augmented Central Committee meeting. It's ending today. A number of issues are again on the table. They will be discussing, for instance, the expulsion of KZN. You would recall KZN at some point was against the SACP contesting or participating independently in the forthcoming local government elections. Again, they will be discussing Professor Bladen Zimander's, he penned an opinion piece, really calling for a special conference that, the SACP needs to have a special congress and decide again and discuss again this matter of the SACP contesting elections. They will be having their press media briefing around 3 this afternoon, we are told. And we are all looking at the outcomes and the political ramifications during the course of the week.
Just lastly, Matlanga Commission this week. Last week was quite important with Lieutenant General Hilda Sintumule's testimony before the Commission. I would assume that it's building momentum towards producing that interim report that would be due later this month.
Indeed, the interim report is coming out on the 17th of this month, of December. And we know that, so far, the people who are making allegations against certain individuals, they're concluding that list. I think from tomorrow, what will be happening from tomorrow, they will be now calling people who are now implicated. Those who are implicated or those who allegations were made against them will be given an opportunity now to respond to those allegations. And
that list, has it been compiled just yet, or is it only coming out tomorrow?
Well, the Matlanga Commission, they're very structured. They're very professional. So everything, they're keeping it close to their chest. So they will only release. Jeremy Michaels normally releases his things in the morning. Before 8 o'clock in the morning, we would be knowing that Oliver Dixon will be on the stand.
Yeah. Yeah, one would assume that it would be Senzo Mchunu as the former suspended minister that would have to appear first. But of course, they might decide to do it differently and have him last in the list of implicated peoples.
Yes, because all the implicated people, I think they've now concluded the list. So now he's been having some time to listen to everyone, and everyone points to him. Even last week when General Sintumule, everything says to him that, in fact, we're not supposed to have done that. So now the time is for him to respond.
Absolutely.
So I think this week it will be his turn to really come and rebut everything that has been said about him.
Yeah. Ntebo, thank you so much, man. Really do appreciate it. Of course, it's a busy week for you ahead, but we'll keep in touch, of course, as the week unfolds on some of these big issues. We're going to take a break. We continue on the other side of this.